Advaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dhinabandhu Jagatpate गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna everybody. Welcome you all. So today we will be learning the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, 10th chapter in Bhakti Yoga section. Okay, before we begin, one small question. How many of you are chanting regularly? At least one round. Can you raise your hand? Please raise your digital hands. Regularly one round. Hari Bol. Only one person? Nobody else is chanting regularly?
I do it too. I'm looking for where to put that. Raise your
Oh,
hand.
okay. So two. You can put your answers in the chat also, no
Oh,
issues.
chat. Okay. Got it.
Only two people. How about others? Nobody wants to.
I do Nam Jap, but without the mala
That's okay.
because I don't. Yeah, so I do Nam Jap every day.
Yeah, that is also fine. But you count using your hands, right?
No, I don't. I just sit for like 10-15 minutes and I just continuously go on taking the name.
Try to download Japa counter or you can count with your hand also.
Okay.
16 rounds. Who is this? Biswas Prabhu. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. So 16 times as in 108 time round. I mean 16 rounds, 16 malas or 16 times. How do you do it, Prabhu? Okay, very nice. Okay. 16 rounds. Hari Bol. A big Hari Bol to Biswas Prabhu. Very nice. Okay, so please do start if you've not started, right? As quick as possible. And okay, so if you chant one round regularly, then you can go to level 2 as well. Okay, so please do chant. I want you all to continue and stay in this association. Trust me, it helps. Okay, so 10th chapter is Vibhuti Yoga, the opulence of the absolute. The absolute, so it begins with the Lord. So this chapter, Vibhuti means different opulences of the Lord. Opulence as in the positions of the Lord, right? What makes the Lord rich and how vast has he spread, right? All that we will understand in this chapter. And tomorrow, in 11th chapter, Krishna will visually show all that he explained in 10th chapter, right? The universal form of the Lord. So the Lord said, my dear friend, mighty armed Arjuna, listen again to my supreme word, which I shall impart to you. Right? So today, Krishna will impart, his, how do I say, how much has he expanded across this world, right? How much, everything belongs to him, and what is he in all of these, right? Everything Krishna is going to describe in this. नमे विदु सुरगणा प्रभवं न महर्षया अहम आदिर्हि देवानां महर्षीणां च सर्वशः. Say aham adirhi devanam. So Krishna says he is the first god. All the demigods emanate from the Lord, right? Krishna says, no, aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate. It comes in this chapter. So neither the host of demigods nor the great sages know my origin, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and the sages. Right? He is the source of all the demigods and the sages. So everybody else is going to just come from the Lord. Right? So that's why he's aham adir hi devanam, the first is the source of the demigods, and he who knows me as the unborn and the beginningless, as the supreme Lord of all the worlds, he undiluted among men is freed from all the sins. Right? So Krishna is beginningless. He is the beginning of everything, right? But he is beginningless. He has no beginning. Right? Govinda Madi Purusham, right? uh, Anadir Adir Govinda. So Anadir, he has no beginning, but Adir Govinda, he is the beginning of everything, and he is the beginning of all the worlds. He is the creator of the cosmic manifestation as well as the spiritual manifestation as well. And such a person, if you worship him, knowing all this, this is knowledge, right? So you read scriptures for knowledge. So read such things which give you this kind of knowledge, not anything else. Because when you know all this and then you start worshipping the Lord, see, even before joining this Bhagavad Gita also, we will worship Krishna, or go to Krishna temple and all that. But the whole mood is changed now, right? Now we know his opulence, now we know his greatness, now we know who is Krishna, what is Krishna, everything we know. Now you worship, the whole mood has changed, the quality of worship changes, the emotions change, right? It becomes deeper and deeper, and love starts sprouting for the Lord. So that's why Krishna says, knowing this you worship. Without knowing, do not worship, because it becomes very superficial without knowing. If you worship, oh, Krishna is just another god. No, now we know who is Krishna, right? Seven great sages, before them are the four great sages, and the Manus are born out of Krishna only, right? So Saptarishis, we say, no, the seven great sages, and before them are the four other great sages, and the Manus are Manvantara avatars, we discussed, right? So they are all born out of Krishna. Everybody emanates from the Lord. एतां विभूतिं योगं च ममो यावेत्ति तत्त्वतः यो अविकल्पेन योगेन युज्यते नात्र संशयः. He who knows this truth, this glory and power of mine, engages in unalloyed devotional service. Of this there is no doubt. So a lot of people become fan of celebrities and all that, right? They are famous only in this world. They are famous throughout the earth, maybe, right? And if you go to another planet and talk about this celebrity, will that planet people know? No. Can you talk about this particular celebrity that you're a fan of going to the moon, going to the Mars and Jupiter and all that? They will not know. They will be like, who is this person you're talking about? Right? So that's the limitation celebrities have. Instead of becoming fan of celebrities, instead of worshipping them, instead of giving your life to politicians and etc., right? Or big officials and etc., thinking that they will give you something in return, you will gain a lot, right? That's all foolishness. Instead of that, look at the glory of the Lord. Can you imagine what Krishna is? Become a fan of Krishna, your life will be settled. Right? So who knows this truth, his glory and power of mind, engages. If you know all this wholeheartedly, even if you don't want to, you will start surrendering to the Lord, because now you know, what am I in front of such a huge person? Who is the celebrity in front of this person? Right? In front of the Lord. How foolishly I was engaging in praising all these people, right? Rather, I have to praise the Lord. So intelligent people will definitely engage in unalloyed devotional service of the Lord. Of this there is no doubt. Yeah, this is the shloka I was talking about. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate. Iti matva bhajante mam bhava samanvitaha. What is Krishna saying? Aham sarvasya prabhavo. Right? He is the source of everything, even spiritual, material, everything for that matter. He is the source. Right? And everything emanates from him. Matta sarvam pravartate. Sarvam, everything comes from him. Right? Iti matva bhajante mam. Knowing this. See, Krishna keeps using the word know it, know it. That means learn about the Lord, gain knowledge about the Lord, not about anything else. Right? So the wise who know this perfectly engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. like I said before, learning Bhagavad Gita also, we might have worshipped the Lord, but the way we worship was different, right? In our hearts and minds, oh, he's just another god, that's it, right? But you know all this, and then now you start worshipping, it just completely changes, right? So machchitta matkata prana bodhayanta parasparam katayantascha man nityam tushyanti charamanti cha. So Krishna is explaining what happens in devotee association. I just told no beginning of the class. Chant one round, go to the level two. Do not all your questions will be answered in level two because you will be doing it in detail. Here it is very superficial, right? When you chant one round, you can take up level one, level two, right? And so in why am I asking you to do level two? You can also study Bhagavad Gita at home, right? Every day you can read one page or one shloka, whatever it is. But devotee association has the power. And that is magic, right? Even if you read Bhagavad Gita alone at home or chant alone from years, you will not see the change that you see in when you do all these things in the association of devotees, like in the class, like this is a devotee association. Right now, what is happening, right? So Krishna is also saying, Matchitta Matkata Prana Bodhayanta Parasparam. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are surrendered to me, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss enlightening one another and conversing about me, right? So when devotees come together, what do devotees even do? Devotees will not talk about politics or anything. What they talk about the Lord is the only king for them, no other king or anything, right? So we relish the sweetness of Bhagavad Gita doubles when you discuss it in the association of like-minded people, right? Not alone or not in with people who hardly believe in God or who don't know who is God. No, in the within the like-minded association, when you discuss all this, the sweetness of what you're discussing doubles, it amplifies, right? So what happens? You get more satisfaction, you get more happiness, right? So that's why it's always good to be surrounded by like-minded people. If you are trying to become a devotee, surround yourself with devotees and discuss Krishna Katha with them. Then your understanding also becomes deeper, and your the changes also you'll start seeing, right? You'll start becoming a better human being faster, right? Krishna says in Jnana Yoga from 13th chapter to 18th chapter, right? Krishna says the particular qualities we need to develop: truthfulness, honesty, etc., etc. How to develop all that? Alone, sitting at home, you can't. Even if you're chanting, say, 64 rounds, you can't. Right? You should always come in association of devotees and then discuss all this. Then the changes will be faster.
Hare Krishna, Hare
See the
Krishna.
video later. तेषां सततयुक्तानां भजतां प्रीतिपूर्वकं ददामि बुद्धियोगं तं येन मामुपयन्ति ते. To those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. A lot of us have the questions, right? Okay, fine, I'm chanting one round now. What next? Okay, fine, now the level is over. What next? What next? So Krishna will come and personally give you instructions, seeing your desire towards him, right? Based on how much desired, I mean, you need to be desperate. Okay, that's the right word I can use, right? You need to be eager, very very keen and eager and desperate to attain the Lord, right? Then what happens? Seeing that burning desire in your heart, Krishna gives you personal instructions in the form of a senior devotee or a spiritual master, guru, or from your heart itself, you'll start feeling the intuitions. What to do next? How do I go about it? Right? So, to those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Can you imagine? Krishna gives them the understanding. This is the Dhruv Maharaj story. I think all of you know, most of you know, right? So this small boy, he's just 5 years old, right? He was insulted by his stepmother, saying this kingdom doesn't belong to you, your father doesn't belong to you, right? He all this belongs to only my son. So he starts crying. He's actually the elder son, and he starts crying. And he goes to his mother. His mother says, nobody can give you the solution, only the Lord can give you. He stays in the forest. You go, do tapasya, and then Krishna will come in front of you, and then you ask him what you want. Right? So he went to the forest. See, why did his mother give his instruction? Krishna came in the form of his mother, right? Krishna spoke through his mother and made her give the instruction. Seeing the burning desire in this little boy's heart. He wanted a kingdom which is greater than his father's kingdom. He wanted his father's love. He wanted his father's attention, right? All this he wanted. Such a young child, but the desire, he was so passionate, right? So, based on seeing that intense desire, Krishna spoke through his mother, and he went to the forest listening to her, right? When he went to the forest, he didn't know what kind of tapasya to do, what to do, how to do, right? He didn't know. So that time, Krishna sent Narada Muni, his Dhruva Maharaj's spiritual master, and Narada Muni instructed him on how to go about it further. Narada Muni gave him the mantra Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva. For Satya Yoga, that's the mantra we need to chant, right? For different yugas, different mantras. And he started, you can see, right? He used to stand on one leg and quit. I mean, no eating, nothing, no drinking water, nothing. Completely focus on the Lord, right? And chant the mantra Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And finally, Krishna came in front of him. Just in 6 months of tapasya, the youngest duration, nobody has achieved this in such less short amount of time, right? So Krishna comes in front of him. You can see Krishna comes in Vishnu form, and then because he was meditating on the Vishnu form of the Lord, and then he and gives him the Dhruva Loka, or the pole star, which is even today existing. It's imperishable, okay, and it's the richest planet in the world. I mean, it's the richest star in the world, okay. So Krishna gave him that, right? So when you have the intense desire or the burning desire, if you show that you're desperate to achieve him, then Krishna will personally take charge of you. He will start giving personal attention to you, right? Tesham evanukampartam aham ajnanajam tamaha nashayami atmabhavasto jnanadipena bhashvata. Out of compassion, see, I told you, Krishna gives you personal attention. Seeing your burning desire, Krishna will be like, oh, this person wants me so badly, right? So he starts feeling compassionate towards you, right? So out of compassion for them, I dwelling in their heart, right? As Paramatma, He dwells in our heart, right? So destroys with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance, right? He first illuminates our heart with knowledge, right? Dispels all the darkness and gives us instructions. This is very important. That's why. So, as an example, I can give you this example. So, say a mother or a father has, say, 5 children. Okay. Say all the children. There's this youngest child who always keeps crying and clinging on to the mother for everything. Right. For every small thing, the child keeps crying and calling the mother. The other four are able to manage themselves. Right. They are not very highly dependent like this child. She is so all the time attached to the mother. So whom do you think the mother will go give more attention to? Obviously, this child who cries for everything, right? Cries out mother, calls out the mother for everything. Obviously, the mother gives more attention to this child. Doesn't mean the mother doesn't love other children. She knows other children are at least able to manage. Okay, but this child all the time calls me, so let me go first to this child only. Same thing, if you cry out to the Lord and show him that you want him and you cannot live without him, right? So Krishna will give you more attention, right? That is as simple as that. So that's what Krishna is saying. Out of compassion, Krishna will give you attention in the form of knowledge, right? Shining lamp of knowledge. Jnanadipena bhashvata. Arjuna Uvacha Parabrahma Parandama Pavitram Paramam Bhavan Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adidevam Ajam Vibhum Ahustvam Rishaya Sarve Deva Shirnaradastatha Ashito Devalo Vyasa Swayam Chaiva Bhavishime. You are the primeval Lord. So Krishna, Arjuna is starting to explain, right? Arjuna completely surrenders to the Lord and starts talking. Parabrahma, you are the Lord. There is nobody superior to you. Parandhama, you are the supreme destination. Right? Pavitram, purest. Paramam Bhavan, you are the original. You are the only source of refuge for all of us. Purusham, you are the enjoyer and you are the only supreme person. Shashvatam, eternal. Divyam, he is transcendental. Adi Devanam, Adi Devam, he is the first source of demigod. He is the first existing living entity. Ajam, right? He's unborn, right? Vibhum, he's everywhere. He's all pervading. ahustvam rishaya survey. So everybody has come to the conclusion that not just Arjuna. So Arjuna is saying so many rishis, including Deva Rishi Narada, Ashito, Devalo, Vyasadev, all of them have come to this conclusion, not just me. I'm just coming to realize all this right now, right? After listening to all this, that Aham Sarvasya Prabhu, after Krishna tells everything that I'm Adari Devanam and everything. So Arjuna comes to the understanding or comes to realize that yes, this is what Krishna's position is, right? Parabrahma is the supreme God, supreme destination, pure refugee. He's the only enjoyable person. I mean, a person who's supposed to enjoy, right? Shashwatam, he's eternal, he's transcendental, he's the first existing living entity, right? He's Ajam, he's unborn, he's Vibhum, all pervading, right? So he comes to directly, as in he comes to realize it personally, right? And then he quotes also. Others have also told the same about you, not just me, right? So all these rishis and Narad Muni and etc., they have also given the same kind of opinion. Okay, sarvam etadritam manye yanmam badashikeshava nahite bhagavan vyaktam vidur devana danavaha. So, oh Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. Neither the gods nor demons, oh Lord, know your personality. Right? Can you imagine? Nobody in this world know the Lord in full, because Krishna himself doesn't know his opulence in full, right? That's the reason, actually one of the reasons why Krishna comes to this world as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is he doesn't know his own glories, his own qualities, because they're so unlimited, right? So Krishna wants to enjoy, wants to experience all those qualities, or wants to understand those qualities. So he comes to this world as a devotee to understand himself, right? So once what happened, Krishna was nicely dressed up by Yashoda Mata, and Yashoda Mata went inside to get some milk or water for him. That time he went inside in front of the mirror. He was very small, okay? And he went in front of the mirror. That was the first time he saw the mirror. He looked at the mirror and he saw this beautiful form. And Krishna was like, for a moment, he was like, who is this? He didn't even know he's that beautiful, right? And then he just kept staring at the mirror for hours, right? So Yashoda Mata and all of them were just looking at Krishna, and they were like, see how beautifully Krishna is looking at the mirror, right? Why? And even after staring at his own self for hours, he still couldn't understand his own beauty. He didn't know, oh, I'm so beautiful, right? He didn't even know that, because Krishna's beauty or qualities, whatever it is, it's limitless, right? It's limitless. So he himself doesn't know. How will we know? How will others know? Right? So indeed, you alone know yourself by your own potencies, O origin of all, Lord of all beings, God of gods, O supreme person, O Lord of the universe. So the acceptance of Arjuna of all that Krishna says should be emulated. Then we can understand the essence of Bhagavad Gita, and then only can we understand that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Right? If you're not welcoming, if you're listening to Bhagavad Gita with a judgmental attitude or a stubborn attitude, okay, like closed doors, you have closed the doors, you're not accepting any truth, right, then how will you understand or enjoy the essence of Bhagavad Gita? That's what Prabhupada is saying in the purport. Acceptance of Arjuna of all that Krishna says should be emulated, like how Arjuna is representing us, right? He is asking Krishna, I mean, all these questions for us. He knows everything, right? So only then we can also understand the essence of Bhagavad Gita with an open mind, and with a surrendering bhav, or at least with an open mind, right? To at least out of curiosity, we need to be open to what is there in Bhagavad Gita. Otherwise, if you close your doors of your hearts, knowledge will not enter. Okay, then there's no point sitting in the class and listening, right? So, how should I meditate on you? In what various forms are you to be contemplated? O blessed Lord, tell me again in detail, O Janardana, of your mighty potencies and glories, for I never tire of hearing your ambrosial words. So, see, ninth chapter, Krishna stops. The last instruction Krishna gives in ninth chapter is Manmana bhava mad bhakto, right? So you always think of me, Krishna says. That's why Arjuna is confused. I mean, not confused. He's asking how to think of you always. Like when I have to shoot an arrow. So imagine I'm in a battlefield, right? I'm doing so much of hard work here, right? Brain work, physical work, everything. In that situation, you are saying, remember me, right? Remember Krishna. How to remember, right? How to think, how to meditate on you, in what forms can you be contemplated. So just to fulfill the instruction, Arjuna is asking questions. How can I fulfill that instruction of yours? Always think of him, right? So now Krishna, this is the vibhutis of the Lord, right? So now Krishna one by one starts explaining how we can think of the Lord in our day to day activities. Even if you're doing brain work, even if you're doing so much of work, if you're doing whatever, even if you're sleeping, right? So, how to remember the Lord? Always. So, Krishna starts explaining his vibhutis, different forms he exists in, right? He pervades in this entire universe or the material world. Just by looking at the form, you can remember Krishna, right? Just by looking at things around you, how to remember Krishna. That's what Krishna is going to explain in Vibhuti Yoga. So Krishna is explaining here, right? So I will tell you my splendorous manifestations, but only which are prominent, right? So these are the only prominent ones that Krishna is going to list in this chapter. Okay, and then in the last he says, they are limitless, Arjuna. What's the point in going on telling about you? So that's what Krishna says. Can you imagine? They are limitless. So only the prominent ones are listed here. So among, I mean, what is Krishna and among what he is, okay? So among Adityas, Krishna is Vishnu. Among light, Krishna is sun. So whenever you see light in your day-to-day life, sunlight is what Krishna is. Krishna represents, okay? So all these things is what Krishna represents. So when you see these things, you immediately Krishna should come into your mind. That's why Krishna is giving you all this knowledge, right? To how to remember him or meditate upon him in our day-to-day life. Um, among what is this? Maruts, Marichi. Okay. Among stars, he is the moon. Among the Vedas, he is Samaveda. Among demigods, he is Indra. Among senses, he is the mind. Among living beings, he is the life force, that is the soul, right? Or the living force, right? The life factor, that is the soul. And then among Rudras, he is Lord Shiva, right? So that's why this picture gives you all the opulences. You can see Shiva here, you can see Narada Muni. Among Rishis, he is Narada. Among Adityas, he is Lord Vishnu. All this Krishna says, right? So, and then among Yakshas and Rakshasas, he is Kubera. And among priests, he is Brihaspati, right? Learned person. Brihaspati is also Jupiter, right? Among generals, he is Skanda. And among bodies of water bodies, is the ocean. Among sages, is Bhrigu Maharshi. Okay. Among vibrations, is the Omkar. Among chanting of the holy name, among sacrifices, is actually chanting of the holy name. Yagnyanam Japa Yagnyosmi, Krishna says. Right. Among all the sacrifices, Krishna is chanting of the holy name. Among immovable things, Krishna is the Himalayas. Among trees, Krishna is Ashwatha. Okay, I think Ashwata is also banyan tree. I don't know, it's written holy fig over here. Okay, and then maybe it's the same. And among sages of the demigods, he is Narada Muni. Among singers, he is Chitraratha. Among men, he is monarch, that is the king, right? Among humans, he is the king, as in leader. Okay, now we don't have king, any leader, anybody who leads a group of people, right? And among weapons, he is Vajra, right? Vajra Yudha, that I think Indradev has, no? And among cows, he is Surabhi cow. And among procreators, he is Kandarpa or Cupid, right? Manmatha it is called. And among serpents, he is Vasuki. Among snakes, he is Ananta, right? Ananta Shesh, where Krishna lies on. And among aquatic deities, he is Varunadev. Among departed ancestors is Aryama. Aryama is actually the demigod of all the Pitrus or the ancestors, right? And dispensers of law. Among dispensers of law, he is Yamaraj, right? And among Daitya demons is Prahlad, because Prahlad was born in Daitya Loka, right? I mean, Daitya dynasty. And among subduers, he is time. Among beasts, he is lion. Among birds, he is Garuda. Among purifiers, he is wind. Among wielders of weapon, he is Rama. Among fish, he is shark. Among the flowing rivers, he is the Ganges. Among creation, he is the beginning, end, and also the middle of the creation. Among sciences, he is the spiritual science. Among logicians, he is the conclusive truth or the result of the logic. That is Krishna. And among letters, he is the first letter, and all that, right? And among he is the all-devouring death, generator of all things yet to be as well. Yet to whatever is yet to happen, that is also Krishna. Whatever has happened is also Krishna. And he is the death, he is the destroyer as well. Right? Among women, he represents these qualities among women, right? Fame, fortune, speech, memory, intelligence, faithfulness, and patience. These are the qualities that he is derived, right? He represents in a woman. And among hymns, he is Brihat Sama. And among poetry, he is Gayatri mantra, right? Devasya Dhimahi, that kind of mantra. All Dhimahi kind of mantras represent the Lord. And among months, he is Margashira. And among seasons, he is the spring season. Among cheats, he is gambling. Krishna is a cheater as well, right? So nothing in this world is without Krishna. Even good comes from Krishna, bad also comes from Krishna. And then among splendid, he is the splendor, and he is the victory, adventure. Among strong, he is the strength, right? He also says this in 7th chapter Bhagavad Gita, right? Of all the strong people, he represents the strength. And among descendant of Vrishni, he is Vasudeva. Vasudeva is Krishna's father, right? And they come from the Vrishni dynasty. So Krishna represents Vasudeva, he is a devotee also. And then among Pandavas, Krishna represents Arjuna, right? So Madhyama Pandava, Krishna represents Arjuna. So this is very important. And among sages, he is Vyasadeva, right? Among sages of demigods, he is Narada Muni, and among sages of sages, all the sages, he is Vyasadeva. So Vyasadeva, that's why Vyasadeva has been empowered to compile Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata, Srimad Bhagavatam, and everything, right? And then among thinkers, he is Ushana. Among punishments, he is rod of chastisement. Among victory seekers, he is morality. And among secrets, he is silence. Okay, so it's all here. Like even there is this elephant. Among elephants, he is actually Airavat, right? Among horses, he is Uchchaishrava, if I'm not wrong, right? And here you can see Prahlad Mani, right? Among demons, he is Prahlad. Among fish, he is the shark. All of it is there. Among birds, he is Garuda. Among what else? Omkara, he is, right? Among all the vibrations. Everything is there. Among cows, he is Surabhi. Uh, right? Among bees, he is the lion. Right? Yeah. Furthermore, O Arjuna, I am the generating seed of all existence. Right? He is Aham Bija Pradapita. He is the seed giving father for all of us. Right? So he is the generating seed of all existence. And there is no being moving or unmoving that can exist without me. Can you imagine? We are directly or indirectly dependent on the Lord. He is the seed giving father. If he had not given us life, none of us would have been alive even, right? So, O mighty conqueror of enemies, there is no there is no end to my divine manifestation. What I have spoken to you is but a mere indication of my infinite opulences. Mere indication of my infinite opulences. See, Krishna uses the word infinite, so it's limitless. Now he says there is no end to my divine manifestations, right? It's everywhere. Krishna is just all pervading, and in fact, Krishna is present in every atom in the form of Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. Yesterday we were discussing, right? Yesterday or some class, the three Vishnu forms. So Kshirodakshaya Vishnu is the one who enters into our heart as Paramatma. At the same time, every atom, right? Atom of this world, every atom he enters and sits in every atom, right? So when Krishna is present in every atom, how can his limits even, I mean, how can his glories even have an end or limit, right? Because every atom is Krishna. Hmm? So he's that all pervading. यद् विभूति मत्सत्वं श्रीमद् ऊर्जितम् एव वा तत्तद् एवानगच्छत्वं मम तेजो अंश संभवम्. Know that all beautiful, glorious and mighty creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. Can you imagine when you see anything and everything around you? We always say, right, when we go to some hill stations or somewhere, we say, oh, nature is so beautiful. Or when you go to the terrace in the night, you'll be like, oh, the moon is so beautiful, right? So Krishna is saying everything that is beautiful, glorious, and mighty creations spring from but a spark of his splendor. Not even his full energy, just a spark of his splendor can cause all everything beautiful in this world. Can you imagine, right? So that's the glory of the Lord. A mere spark of Krishna or his splendor can create beautiful things and can work miracles in this world, right? That's the position of the Lord. अथाव अथा अथवा बहुनैतेन किं ज्ञातेन तवार्जुन विष्टभ्याहम् इदं कृत्स्नम् एकांशेन स्थितो जगत्. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. Can you imagine? See what is Krishna saying? What is the need to know all this? I pervade everywhere in this universe. That's what Krishna is saying, right? With a single fragment of Krishna, this entire universe is supported. Krishna supports this entire universe not as Krishna. Krishna doesn't have to come and support this universe. A single fragment of Krishna is enough, right? So that's why Kshirodakshai Vishnu expands into so many forms and pervades every atom. Every atom he sits into. So if he's in every atom, can you imagine? Then he's everywhere. He's everywhere. Every good thing has Krishna, every bad thing also has Krishna. Right? So that's why Pandita Samadarshanaha, that's why learned people do not discriminate between good and bad. They are neutral to both. They know Krishna is pervading everything and nothing is happening without Krishna's sanction. So they are neutral to good, neutral to bad, they are neutral to everything. They're just there, always chanting Harinam. Right? So that's Krishna. Right? So yeah, this is the summary of the chapter. Uh, so first we understood Krishna is knowable, unknowable and source of all. Right? Everything is emanating from the Lord only. And pure bhakti is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Right? Like Arjuna, we also have to have an open mind and surrender first. Surrender to Krishna only then. See, when you surrender to a person, if the person is saying something, you'll be in a position to listen. If you've not surrendered, or if you're not in a mindset of obeying that person, if you're just sitting with challenging attitude, then whatever is there, you will have a question. Oh, how can this be possible? Or how can that happen? How can this happen? So we need to surrender, bow down, and accept it with humility. And that's what Krishna says. Discuss. And Krishna is very happy when devotees join together and discuss Krishna Katha instead of doing it alone. Right? Machchitta madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam. Right? Katyantascha mam nityam tushyantita ramanticha. So Krishna is saying, Katyantascha mam nityam. So every day you discuss Krishna Katha. Tushyanticha ramanticha. Krishna is also satisfied. You will also be satisfied. Right? Arjuna accepts Krishna's supreme position. Right? That's why Krishna says, no, Parabrahma Parandama. So he goes on. He's Ajam, Vibhu, everything Arjuna starts saying. Right? And then Arjuna also says, Sarvam etadritam manye. And I am accepting your position, and not just me, Krishna. Even Narada, Ashita, Devala, Vyasa, all of them have also declared in the past about your glories, right? So Arjuna is not the first person. That's what he's saying, and Arjuna is actually quoting all those sages to make us understand that he is not. Arjuna is not originally declaring something. The great sages have already declared it. Arjuna is just reconfirming it, right? Lord Krishna describes his vibhutis, all about his vibhutis. Okay. Um I think we finished it today very early. Okay, any questions? Anybody? No questions? Okay, so yeah, I was in the beginning of the class. I think not everybody was there. I was asking, how many of you are chanting at least one round? Can you all raise your hand? Hmm. That's it. Vishwas Prabhu, I know, and then Premalata Mataji, and then who else? Neha Mataji also chants, right? Yeah, Yashodan Prabhu also. Rest? What about the rest? So please start if you're not chanting, right? We just discussed about devotee association, right? So I want you all to chant one round, go to the next level, so that what happens, you can understand Bhagavad Gita deeper, okay? And all your questions will also be answered that way. Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you all.
Is Lord Krishna, you said, is present in every atom. So
Yeah,
even in non-living things like a stone or a piece of
yeah,
wood and
yeah,
all that.
yeah. Yeah, everything chara and achara, everything movable and immovable, Krishna is present. So Krishna says, no, among all the immovable objects, Krishna represents Himalayas, his Vibhuti. So yeah, I chant
Hare
Gayatri.
Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
There's a very wonderful teaching by Prabhupada on this, right? Where he says, in the form of stone, Krishna comes as the deities, or
Yeah,
in the form of metal also, he comes as deities. Wood, he comes as deities. And so that is in itself going to show his opulences as the Lord, right?
Haribo.
Why we see Krishna as special? Because in water, he is the taste of water.
Yeah. Very nice. See, Prabhu is talking about the deity Archa Vigraha, right? So some people say, no, oh, it's just a stone. What stone? Krishna has come in that form, right? So it's stone. So Krishna is mercifully coming in the form of that stone to take service from us. If there's no Archa Vigraha, then what will we serve for? Right? So in the form of sand, in the form of stone, in the form of painting, in the form of wood, everything, however possible, we can make deities. So that in itself shows it's all Krishna's opulence. Yeah, we should live the flow and present. What is your question, Prabhu? In that case, we should not think anything of life or person. As in, what life? We should live the flow and present moment. Think about Krishna. That's it. You don't have to think about anything else. Whatever is coming into your life, think, okay, Krishna is behind all this. It's Krishna's hand is there. Yeah, Anand Prabhu, you have a question? Do you have a question? No question.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, so how is it that, you know, we can keep Krishna in our mind at all times? Because as you know, a living entity, we let our mind wander sometimes, right? So how is it that we can keep him in our mind at all times?
Abhyasena tu kaunteya. Krishna says it comes only with conscious practice. Consciously, you have to practice it. When you're doing something, mind or you will get that consciousness. Okay, what am I doing right now? Right? This happens while chanting. When you're chanting your rounds, what happens when you start to chant? You're like, okay, I'm chanting now. But in the middle, you would have got lost in the thought. Somewhere, something you would have been thinking. So after some time, mind definitely comes back. You will get that knowledge ki you are thinking something, you're not chanting. So the moment you get that thought, when you get to know you're not concentrating on what you're doing, but you're thinking something, your mind is wandering. That time you bring it back. You bring it back to what you're supposed to do, especially chanting. Right? This happens when we are doing anything. Even like in our day to day life, entire day It is said we need to think about Krishna, right? So office you might be working. If you're focusing only on your work, then that is fine, because you're working for the Lord, right? So that is still thinking about Krishna and doing things about Krishna. But if you are focusing on anything else unwanted, right, empty mind is devil's workshop, they say, right? So if you're focusing on something else, right, somewhere in that time frame, yeah, you will get the knowledge ki, okay, I'm focusing on something else, I'm thinking something, my mind is gone somewhere else. So consciously you bring it back and say, what am I doing? Okay, let me think about Krishna, let me think about some pastime. So to think about Krishna, you need to know what to think about Krishna, right? Either either holy name of the Lord, that is chanting, or some pastime stories you should know. For that you have to learn, you have to read Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. That's where the stories about the Lord are, right? So then you will think, you will at least know what to think of. So consciously you have to bring your mind back. Mind will wander, that is natural. But even when you get to know it is wandering, if you're not bringing it back, then that's where practice comes. You have to consciously bring it back the moment you get to know it is wandering. I can't manage time for 16 rounds of mala jap. I chant 8 rounds. Is it okay for now if I do just that? 16 rounds will take 2 hours. Okay, 1.5 hours to 2 hours, not more than that. So if you get up, like say, if you wake up at, or if you start chanting, say at 6 o'clock in the morning, by 8 o'clock you can finish. Or if you can start at 5 o'clock in the morning, you can finish it by 7 o'clock, right? Or if you can't do that, you finish your 8 rounds as you're doing, and in between, whenever you get little time, right, try to finish your remaining 8 rounds, right? Like 4 rounds you can finish it in half an hour, your lunch time, your break time, when you're traveling back home, when you're going out somewhere. Just 4 and 4 you can split, half an hour, and you can finish it off. Okay, Hari Bol, Ekadashis you do 16 rounds, very nice, right? So that way you can manage. But as of now it is okay, 8 rounds is awesome, actually. It's awesome. Thank you a lot for the good news is I recently got level 5 certificate from ISKCON Scotland. Haribol, very nice. And you're engaged in the book distribution also. Very nice, Prabhu. Get initiated. All the best. Thank you. Okay. Vansha kalpatrubhyascha. Okay, you have a question? Anybody has question? Anybody has a question? No? No question, we can end. Tomorrow, 11th chapter, Vishwarupa Sandarshana Yoga. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंतकोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्णा। थैंक यू ऑल फॉर ज्वाइनिंग।
Thank you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna Mataji. Thank you very
Hare
much.
Krishna.
Hare
Wonderful.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
हरे
Hare
कृष्णा।
Krishna.